Hey everybody, how are you? Hello, welcome back to episode, what are you? You're season 2, episode, I think you're
15?
15?
15? Let's see. Hold on. Your calendar invite told me. I'm 15.
15. So it's Rebecca Ickes Carra.
That's
Gotcha.
me.
And we were
Nailed
just,
it.
before we started filming that Ickes, we don't know what nationality that is. Welsh-ish.
Maybe. I don't know. Someone super white. Something
Is it
super
that?
white.
Yeah. And what was the other last name? Grandma's?
The Caucasus Islands or something. Who knows? Cara is Francesco's last name. So I added, as a modern woman, I added and didn't change.
And you hyphenated.
So, I didn't hyphenate. So this is the thing. Less important for you, more important for the women watching or listening. If you add and not hyphenate, theoretically, legally speaking, you can use both last names interchangeably. So I didn't have to go through all the paperwork of changing. Like, the business is an S Corp. It's incorporated under my maiden name. Mortgages, multiple. Why did I say that plural? Haha, we do not have multiple property.
Houses.
Let's be real. Like, anything, loans, car deeds, all of the garbage you forget about. I've never changed everything because I have both.
So you can,
because a hyphen is like one whole name.
really? No kidding. So you could be Rebecca Carra Ickes.
That would be weird, but I could.
Unless you hyphenated it.
It would be more like I could be, legal documents are recognized as Rebecca Ickes, Rebecca Carra, or Rebecca Ickes Carra.
Gotcha.
So
now it can be anyone. I can be anyone I want to be.
That's my tip. There we go. We started out from the beginning. The tip is over. That's done. See you later.
Yeah. Don't hyphenate. So, when's the last time you threw on a wheel? And how much weight you got there? You sure you don't want to do a pound first?
I know, right? I really should have warmed up. I have about a kilo. We are a household of metric.
As we all
at least, right? At least in weighing clay. I still don't know what the hell anything in Celsius means. Like, in terms of clothing I should wear to go out of the house. But so actually I have been throwing more regularly, just not at home. So we're set up very much, and if anybody wants to get motion sickness, I can pick up the laptop and do a little tour. Our home studio is set up for production very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
That is Francesco's bread and butter. And I needed an outlet to just be creative and just to like make without a plan, make without needing to produce, without needing to have it turn out, without needing to fire it. I mean, just throw and cut stuff in half and learn things.
Uh-huh.
And so I went back and joined our community studio, Cream City Clay in Milwaukee.
Queen City?
Cream City. Yep. Cream, like the froth on the top of a beer, I presume, because that's what Milwaukee is known for.
Yeah. Wasn't that Laverne and Shirley were from Milwaukee, weren't they?
Yes, sir. And the Fonz. And some other stuff I don't remember. We've only been here for 4 years, so give me a break.
Fonz was like, well, Henry Winkler was like a really like classically trained actor.
I think I knew, somewhere deep in my mind, I knew that.
He just played the Fonz,
Right.
Which makes it even cooler.
Which worked out well.
Yeah, it worked for him.
Right.
So Francesco is a production potter?
Yep. All the way, 100%.
From your home?
Yes, exactly. So we have, the room I'm in right now is, I don't know, 7 feet by 10 feet, roughly. It is tiny. This is not big, which is why I laugh when so many people, when I'm teaching photography, people are like, I don't have this, I don't have that, the space is too small, whatever. I'm like, yeah, girl, like, I know.
Yeah.
How long did it take us to set up this angle right here? Because this was our one spot.
Yeah. By the way, we're done. It's nice talking to you.
Exactly. I'm looking at a wall directly in front of me. There's, I don't know what this system is called. It's just from like your home supply store, like where you can attach the railings to the wall, and then you have those like triangle latches, so you can change the shelf height depending on what we're working on. And then that same system is in the basement. So Francesca will take an entire board full of pots and carry it down the stairs, oftentimes with one hand because he's a show off like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the kilns are. And that's where all of our glazing stuff is. So up here is all the wet work. and downstairs is glazing and storage and shipping.
Okay. And you guys
Yep.
do, but he also does first shift, you said.
Mm. Only recently we went real hard last year on all the holiday things and pretty much burnt out. And so this year's been a bit of a recalibration on like the markets we're really actually enjoying that have the people who like our stuff. Learn every year you learn a little bit more in terms of like where do the people exist that are going to buy your work? What do you actually like to do? Et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the point in which I told you before we did this that I was like, every time anybody watches me throw is the time apparently I am no longer capable of centering. So this is going to be a good time. Breaking news, first time ever anybody actually 4 years of me talking to potters and nobody's ever seen me throw.
I feel so privileged. Thank
you should.
Thank you for this with me. This is fantastic. It's funny, throwing was my first love. I became a hand builder just a couple, 6, 7 years ago.
All right.
Throwing on the wheel is just so damn fun.
Well, and we switched over to when we moved to Milwaukee 4 years ago, set up the studio. For a little while, we had 2 different types of clay, but this is not a big space. Like,
Yeah.
2 types of clay make your life. You just lose so much time and like having to clean everything and switch over and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So Francesco did a ton of research because he was looking for our focus, what the side of the business we really want to grow and where I think his unique skill set and passions intersect is with restaurants, is working with restaurants. And so we needed something that was like, a very low I can't say that word this morning.
Absorption. Yes.
Absorption. Wow.
Yeah.
We needed that to actually be accurate because there's some ranges out there. Are aesthetically for both of us, we like an iron rich clay. We like to show a little bit of that raw clay and have it be dark and interesting. But at the same time, he was not, because he was trained very traditionally as an apprentice with master crafts people, et cetera, et cetera. He's not doing a bunch of extra steps, right? He's not spending time with 3 different diamond core sanding pads, getting the buttery soft bottoms of something. Like, he's gonna pick the clay that's gonna make the most sense. So the winner was Kentucky Mudworks Mulholland, and this stuff it's glorious. I love this clay so much.
And what do you fire to? You're a Cone 6 electric?
Yeah, still, although we do have the kilns we have can go Cone 10, and that is the ultimate, that is the plan. Yeah. But because when everything started, we only had Cone 6. The first kilns we had came out of a family friend's basement. His mom had gotten, I guess in the 70s, everybody was super into like paint your own pottery to the extent that people bought kilns for their house.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm.
Like, at least that's what happened here.
I was just in an auction the other day. There's a website called Auctions International.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like my neighbor is on it all the time because he's a construction guy, and he said, "Hey, man, there's a kiln on this website. It's a couple towns over. If you can create an account and then bid on it."
Yeah.
It went for, it was pretty much a brand new scut that came out of a school, and it went for $520. That's
a deal.
Yeah, I stopped bidding at about 300 because I have 2 kilns, and I was like, oh, what's it? But you could buy that for 500 and sell it for 1,500 easy.
Yeah. Well, so the ones we wound up with were kiln setters.
Yeah.
And Francesco totally overhauled, added the electric panel.
Yep.
All that type of stuff, but they just weren't, the timing of the firing was never entirely consistent. It just had to work real hard. And so eventually once, as you start the way that you can, and then you modify things as you can.
You adapt. I think,
and by that I mean as you have money.
Yeah. I think potters are great adapters, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or maybe just artists in general.
Curious to know, I have actually wondered this for a while, if we're naturally that way or if it's necessity in terms of like all the full-time potters I know are very much your like handy people who will, do their house projects or figure out a way to build something themselves or like just
Yep.
be really resourceful.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's just because we're all broke or if it's because we actually like it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a combination of both, as is true with most things in life.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is definitely a through line I see pretty frequently. I'm doing a terrible job of this, by the way, as expected. There's
Combination.
so much clay on the bottom.
And why is your goal cone 10? Do you want why do you want to go up to 10? I think don't you think you get the same results as 6 at 6 these days?
Well, so this is Francesco is definitely, I will say, I'm not going to oversell my knowledge. He is the mad scientist in the basement, always doing glaze research. That is his happy place. That's also how he cooks, like he's just very into the science of things. He started, I mean, the dream would be cone 10 gas,
Yeah.
not electric. That's the dream. That's not going to happen in the basement in the city.
No, no, no. And you guys live in the city?
We are in Milwaukee. I'm about to say something that might get me kicked out of Wisconsin, but for me, it does not feel, it's still a city, but it doesn't feel like a city the way I lived in Chicago for 14 years.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
We had to buy a car when we moved here. I didn't need to own a car in Chicago. We have a garage. There's no way on the planet I could have even afforded a garage, let alone a parking spot.
No, yeah. See, I grew up in Long Island. You don't in New York City, you
Yep.
do not get a garage unless you're a
Yeah.
multi-millionaire.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, half the time parking spots are more expensive rent than apartments
Yeah,
sometimes.
I remember back in the '90s, my buddy lived down in the village, Greenwich Village, and he paid $600 a month to park his car.
Mhm.
I was like, wait, what?
I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly.
But that's
Yeah, so it's easier. Milwaukee's just an easier city. It's the cost of living's a little bit lower. If I wake up in the morning and realize I forgot to go get milk, I am to the grocery store and back home in like 15 minutes,
yep.
you know?
There's the older I get, the happier I am with things being easy.
Sure.
Growing up, I got all my buddies that still live down in Long Island, and they're like, "What do you live in the middle of nowhere for?" I said, "Because there's no traffic. I do whatever I want. I live literally 2 miles from work. I mean,
Yep.
I lease a car because I don't go anywhere. I don't drive. In half the year, I'm sitting right here
Yep. Yep.
by myself, talking to myself.
Not anymore. Now you're talking to people.
No, well, that's where the podcast started. Is because I would I started going live years ago because I was bored in the studio and I drink a lot of coffee. But so speaking of podcasts, you've been doing yours for a long time. You've got a lot of episodes.
Okay, I need to clarify something about the episodes. I don't have as many as people think. To be fair, we've been doing it for 4 years.
Uh-huh.
So there is a decent back catalog. However, when I first started, and we all do this, right? When you start something new, you look around the internet, see what everybody else is doing, don't really know why they're doing it, but the ones that you admire, you do what they do, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right. And so some friends of mine who are also photographers had started a podcast, and I also know them really well and know their philosophy around business and their heart and all that type of stuff. And so I looked at their podcast and saw that they started at episode 101 because every season the first number changed, right? So season 2 was 201. Season
Gosh.
3 was 301. And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yep.
So that's what I did. Now, in hindsight, it doesn't entirely make sense because my seasons are not exactly like, I think if my seasons were like themed or something, if like there was oh, I don't know, an underlying commonality, then it would make sense because you would know all the 200s are going to be about whatever. Then that would totally make sense.
Yeah.
I figured that out like what 2 years in, and at that point you're referencing past episode number. Like you can't change it once you've done it.
Oh, it's out there. Yep.
Oh,
I
So
think
there are not 700 episodes.
okay. Okay, good. I think I got the season idea from you. I don't think I'm smart
Really?
enough to think about that. Maybe it was you. I don't know. Because I go to work half the year and I don't even have time to make pottery, which really sucks. Which is why I
Yep.
can't wait to talk to you more because I want to do this for a living. But we're broke.
Also, wait, what are you doing half the year?
I'm a
Golf?
golf
Did
pro.
I see that?
I'm a golf pro.
Uh,
Yeah. I've been a golf pro for 20 years. I teach lessons. I play a lot of tournaments. I'm actually going to try to play some more national tournaments next year because
all right.
I'll be 55 in 3 weeks. I
How's
don't know.
that feeling?
Look at
How's that feeling?
this, just wrong. It's just honest. It's just.
I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to
Oh
happen.
no, did you lose it? I was just saying it was such a
I
good.
mean, I haven't lost it, but we're real close. So if nobody was normally, if I'm to this point, like she's real wonky.
Yep.
That's where I just cut it in half and move on. Like I don't save things because at
Oh,
a
you
certain
don't have a
point,
bat. I was gonna say pull it off, put it on a shelf, and put a spout on it.
right. Well, the plan was not to make this wide bellied of one. And so generally I can wire it off and you pick it up and you put it on the shelf. That's why we're set up the way that we are because the shelves are right there. So you can just like pick it up, boom, there it goes. You're on to the next. But yeah, but this wide of a belly trying to pick it off is going to be
Yeah. Yep.
all
Well,
right.
it's funny, I always just throw when I'm throwing multiples, you just kind of pick it up with your fingers and move it. But I got
Mm-hmm.
that bat system a couple of years ago. You know what I mean? This thing,
Yeah, like the Russian doll one.
this like,
Yep.
the thing's fantastic, and I got about 20 of these.
Yep.
But I went to Tim C's house the other day. Do you know Tim from YouTube?
I know. I don't know him personally, but I know him. You know what I forgot? I forgot a towel. I knew there was
Go
something.
get a towel. Take your
Well,
time.
well, actually, I had one, and that towel was on the floor next to the bucket of reclaim that broke
So
before we hit record.
see, you were cleaning before you even knew you had to clean. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's
No, that.
your space. Well, anyway, I went over to Tim C's house the other day and we sat and threw together. Like I was like, "Oh, I want you on the show." And he said, "Well, we live so close together. Why don't we just do it in person?" I said, "Okay."
Oh, I didn't realize you guys were that close.
Yeah, an hour and a half. So I drove up to his house, and I think next week he's going to drive down here. He's actually going to bring a wheel because I sold my other one.
Well, that was dumb.
I know. Darn it. Well, that's another thing I want to talk about as we go further. But
Mm-hmm.
so we were throwing bowls. We threw like 30 bowls for the Empty Bowls project or whatever.
Yeah, I love that organization. So
Yeah,
good.
I want to try to revive that in this area. I think it used to be big in here, so we threw 30 bowls for that.
This
But
is so heavy.
yeah,
Look at that. That's so heavy.
look at that's pretty good for not throwing. Look at you.
Ben throwing. The problem is I swear to you, as soon as, and this happens with Francesco too, I can sit here and throw a board of Ponce. As soon as he walks in,
Yep.
forget it. Never mind. I was like, I was doing a perfectly fine job until somebody started watching me. I don't know if it's like a recovering perfectionist thing or what it is, but we'll see.
Well, it's a perfect example. I've been playing golf since I was 5. And I
Yeah.
played a tournament at this course called Oak Hill. They play the U.S. Open there. It's really famous, and they announce your name on the tee. There's a bunch of guys standing around next on the tee from so and so, Mike Griffin, and I'm putting the tee in the ground like this. Dude, I've hit millions of golf balls in my life.
Right.
Here
Right.
what are you nervous about? This is silly. Silly, silly,
Yeah,
silly.
so we're gonna warm up a little bit. I'm gonna work up to the. I had an idea of what I actually wanted to make today, which was always exciting. And I was
Yeah.
like, let's start with something that makes me look like I'm competent.
Don't you love when you plan to throw something? Never comes out the way you wanted it to?
Well, so what's been beautiful about going to the community studio is number one, I'm an extrovert, so it gets me out of the house and I can talk to people,
Mm-hmm.
which is helpful. Number two, I think that shift in space, like, because when I'm here, if I'm not doing something from a production standpoint that's contributing to our business, then I feel like I'm taking away the time from what Francesco would otherwise be doing, or he has to fit in his schedule around me just like wanting to play because
Yeah,
we only have one wheel.
gotcha.
And so leaving the house was just that like that physical shift in like, cool, I'm going here to go mess around. And so I've been exploring like modifying forms a little
Hmm.
bit. So throwing and altering, and then also doing some like in the
Yeah.
future.
I love making lidded jars. People always say, "What's your favorite thing to make?" And I say, "Jars." Jars are.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, so it's just given me the opportunity to do stuff that's frankly really inefficient when everything else here is like built for efficiency.
See, that's great though, because like, from a person like yourself who is a professional and has a podcast and has a business, you need to go somewhere for yourself, which is really good. I mean, if you don't take care of your own self physically and more importantly mentally, you're not
Hmm.
going to make good stuff, or you're going to regret it. You know what I mean? You're going to get. I personally, at the end of golf season, when I can feel it getting colder and I just want to make pots, and there's like a month of golf left, I get
Mm.
forgetful. Like people come in the pro shop, I'm like, "What do you want? We want to
Why are you still here?
go play somewhere else. I want to go home. It's bad. Yeah, why are you here?"
Man, there's gonna be a lot of hot takes in this. This is gonna be a good time. That when I was full time with photography still, that was the fall for me. You know how much everybody, oh my God, the colors, the pumpkins, the apple spice, the blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Because what happens is everybody freaks out about, like, nobody thinks about the fact that also I talk with my hands, so I can't really throw and talk at the same.
That's an Italian thing. Yeah, no worries.
It is. It truly is. When I lived in England, I had boss for the work I worked with refugees, and I was talking to him one day, and I was talking, and he just as I'm talking, he slowly grabbed my hands to lower them down, and I slowly stopped talking.
Oh, that's fantastic. Like, what are you doing to me right now?
It really was. Because obviously, like, I'm gonna stereotype the English, but like, I was way more gregarious than
Yeah.
anybody that I worked with. So I for that completely threw me off. I forgot we were the fall. Yeah. So like everybody, but they don't you can't really plan ahead. You don't know exactly when the the leaves are going to change, right? It depends on what the weather was like that year, what's going to happen. And so every year what would happen is like that first tree would change and I would see it and you knew people were just going to start losing their minds.
It's fall. Yeah.
And it was like I had times where people, a couple that I would meet with who wanted me to photograph their wedding, like we hit it off, we had a great conversation, everything's good. They're ready to sign a contract. And then when I told them the next available date that I had to do their engagement session wasn't for like a month,
Yeah.
they wouldn't hire me because they wanted to take engagement photos that week in order to have the fall leaves. And
Yeah.
I was just like, and this is in Chicago. I'm like, there are no maple leaves
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no giant oak trees. Like, it looks the same.
I would have said we can do it. We can do it this week. It's going to cost you an extra $1,000 because I got to cancel somebody else.
Right, right. That's true. I should have thought of that maybe.
I got to.
Truly, there just was not enough. There wasn't that many days in the week to do it because also you're not going to just do it at any time. You want to do it at like a good time of day. And so, yeah.
I
So
got a buddy
it
who's
was wild.
he's a carpenter, and he'll do that on his bills. He'll put, here's the price, and here's the do it quickly price.
Yes.
And he says you'd be surprised how many people will take that extra price. He's like, I put it
100%.
40,000 extra dollars on it, and they want it now. Okay.
Yep. Yep. I had a mentor once who said, you get three. Well, so the options are good, fast, and cheap. You get two. You get to pick two.
Yep. Anything
Good,
good,
fast, and cheap.
fast. Anything cheap is not good.
Hmm.
Yep.
Hmm. Hmm.
I love that shirt. I like my bacon crispy.
Okay.
My buddy
I
owns a
can't wait for
cafe.
this segue.
When you hold the bacon, I want it to go straight out like that. I don't want it to droop. I want it crispy, like
I
bacon.
support this.
I want to chip my tooth.
I support that.
When I'm standing there waiting, he comes out. He says, "My burnt food takes time."
That feels accurate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean,
Oh, that's great.
gosh, I have this like a page and a half of things I want to talk to you about. Maybe 2 pages.
And since I'm such a concise responder, I'm sure we'll get through all of it.
Concise responder. Oh my God, I want a T-shirt that says that. I am a
No,
concise responder.
I am not. I'm the most long-winded, so we're probably going to get through two questions.
I love silly T-shirts. My daughter said, "What do you want for Christmas, Dad?" I said, "Give me some T-shirts that say dumb stuff on it. I like silly
Do you
T-shirts."
have a flipperoonie?
I have a
I
flipperoonie.
think okay, good. I think I saw that. I almost wore mine today, but mine's long sleeve.
Wearing Delvin Goods throw.
Yeah.
He's coming
So
to the show.
I said I love Dell. Dell is a wonderful human being.
He makes cool.
I reached out to him to make the Flipperoonie shirt because Bill is one of the OG members of my community,
Yep.
our online membership. And I forget what had, maybe one of those posts had gone viral for him or something had happened, that some of us had gotten to talking about it. And so I don't remember if it was for his birthday or if it was just a random surprise. Because he does this amazing thing where he keeps track of every member. We've got 100 people in the community at this point.
Bill does or Delvin?
Bill keeps track of every member in the community that I run that he's a member of. He keeps track of every single person's birthday, and
Really?
because he's just such a lovely human being, and he'll do a birthday post for every single person, and so then we surprised him. I got Dell to make the Flipperoonie shirts, and we had and Bill didn't know that they existed, and we got a bunch of members to buy them, take pictures, and then we did a post for Bill to see them all. And obviously now he knows they exist and you can get them. But yeah,
So
that's
cool. No kidding.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I just booked Bill for January.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, great.
I
My
have a
work here is
I have a
done.
feeling him and I are gonna have a lot of fun. I like him. And Delvin just sent me an email the other day. He works at Speedball.
Yes, he does.
Speedball, as you know or may know, is our new sponsor here for the podcast.
All right, all right. Man,
Speedball,
I gotta get back on this sponsorship thing.
right? Well, I was talking. I had a couple. I had Becca Otis and Ryan
Huh?
Durbin on the show from the Wheel
Yep,
Talk podcast,
yep.
and they're like, they charge like money to their sponsors, and they have 6 or 7 sponsors that pay them a good amount of money per month. And
Well,
I was
that's
like,
how sponsorship works, my friend.
I want to do that. Well, there's monetary sponsors and there's product sponsors, I think.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. 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 Okay. Yep.
So because my audience is not so big yet, although it did just jump up like 400 people the other day,
All
um,
right.
I don't think I'm in this space yet to ask for a monetary thing.
Yeah. I mean, the conversation I had with Beck and Ryan back in the day, I had just signed on with Amico at the time,
Yep.
and they were looking to get into sponsorship. And there's a couple different ways that, from my perspective, it would have helped if I would have wedged this clay well, also.
No, I
But
don't wedge it on the wheel.
Uh, yeah, but not when I'm already anxious about people watching me do this and being like, "Oh my God, it's taking her so long," and she talks so much about production.
Viewers.
Um, but
So go ahead. You were talking
oh
to Becca and Ryan.
yeah. So I had started working with Amico however many years ago that was, um, and Beck and Ryan and I got to talking and I think it was at Nsika probably because they were just beginning to think about sponsorship.
Yep.
And the traditional way with podcasts, like all your big, massive shows out there, that they're doing it based on download numbers, based on like, what is it, click through? There's an acronym. I just forgot the acronym. That like essentially you're getting half a penny or a penny per download or whatever. But that's for your like celebrity shows where, you're tens of millions of downloads. And the way I had approached it in the beginning was like, we have a niche audience that's like, I'm not getting, you know, tens of thousands of downloads every week by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
What I am getting is an incredibly engaged audience. Like, if I ask a question, people will write me an email and respond. So there's one angle of it that's quantity and there's another angle of it that's quality, and I have zero desire to play the quantity game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care about quantity at
No,
all.
I agree. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
I would rather build something that's rooted in like the actual humans than and the quality of it than like, oh, we have to hit 1 million downloads or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So, and that seemed to work because it's like, then you're charging for the quality and the value of what you're bringing to the table instead of like, because also with some of those big numbers, like especially for people who were on Instagram like years and years ago, how many of those you have no idea how many of those are bots, how
Yeah,
many are, what was it, 10 years ago there was the follow for follow trends, there was the
yeah. I got a buddy who just jumped up to 60,000 followers, and
all
he's my
right.
friend, and I don't want to say like, dude, like, what'd you do? You know,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
see, I would rather not. I don't want to. I'm not going to pay someone to put a fake follower on my thing. Shoot, if you like it, that's great. If not, I don't care.
Right. Right. Well, because also like what are you getting when that number is so big versus when you have I think it's Seth Godin that talks about 1,000 true fans,
Hmm.
right? Where like the number you need to actually be viable, well, depending on what you want to do, depending on what business model you want, looks different. But like, yeah, if you're trying to go for a lot of corporate sponsorships and like the influencer life is way more about numbers, whereas like that's for me, social media is just an outlet to for more people to find what I'm doing. I have no desire to ever be an influencer whatsoever.
Yeah, I play golf with a kid who's an influencer. He's got 5 million followers on
Oh my
YouTube,
god.
10 million followers on TikTok, and he's 29 years old. He just bought a Ferrari last week.
See, these are this okay, listen, I was very confident in everything I just said. Until you went and told me all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We were playing golf last year, right? Because he comes down because I kick his butt.
Mhm.
Him and his partner come down, and I let it's. I'm like, all right, you two versus me, and they're like, oh, we're gonna win. I go, you're not gonna win.
So wait, is what you're telling me? He's 29. He bought a Ferrari, but you're still better at golf than he is.
Absolutely, he'll never beat me. But we're chatting on the tee, and he's always on his phone because he's an influencer, you know. And
Of
I
course.
said, dude, I said, you're up, you know. And he goes, and he like makes a sigh, like, ah, and he throws his phone down. I go, what's the problem? He says, I'm trying to buy this car, and the dealership's a pain in the ass. I said, what are you trying to buy? And he says, Lamborghini. I go, stop it. He goes, no, I'm really buying a Lamborghini. I don't know. Well, whatever. Like you said, that's I have no desire to do that. You once you put yourself way out there, like this is about as far out there as I want to get.
Right. Yeah.
People know me, and
Actually, okay, I have a question that I ask my son. Francesco and I tend to talk about this at least once a year, usually in winter because, you're being reflective and all that stuff. But the question is, and I think it's a fascinating question to have with people, like a conversation to have with people, but also to have with yourself. It's like a life check.
yep,
If if you didn't have to worry about money, if like, the because that's generally the deciding factor for most people when it comes to careers and whatever, you got to pay your bills, whatever. So if money were out of the picture, you didn't have to worry about it. How would you spend your time?
yeah, wow, yeah. That's. I mean, wow, right?
Right?
Like, would I do this because I love this? Yeah, but if I was a multimillionaire, I wouldn't have much time to do this because I'd be doing so much other. I'd be in
No,
Fiji.
no, no. Well, okay, fair enough. So that's the thing, because it's not a matter of like if you were a multimillionaire, you'd be so busy because of business or whatever. Like, no, no, no. Money's
No,
no longer the option.
yeah, I'd be doing other cool stuff. But
Hmm.
oh, that's a very good question. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to email you later.
Do it. Do it. I would love anybody to email me because it's like the other version of this question that I got asked 10 years ago, probably. I was sitting around a table with a bunch of event folks. We were all having dinner together, and somebody there does what he calls the question game, which is when you're at a dinner party, one person poses and it's not dumb questions like, what's your favorite color? It's like big, like juicy questions.
Yeah, yeah.
But you go around the table, and then the next person asks another big question and go around the table. And he always asked, what would you do if you knew you could not fail, right? Like you knew it would work. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? Which is also a very good
Rob a
question.
bank.
What would you legally do if you knew you could not?
Legally, forget it. That's boring.
Yeah, right.
But
Touche.
what? I mean, if you're talking about fun questions, if it's legally and illegally, that completely changes the question.
That does change it. I mean, now I want to come to a dinner party with you because this just changes everything. But because that his version of that still frames it in like work first, right? Like, what would you do if you knew you could not fail is very much a career question. And that makes sense because in the event world, work was our life. I mean, it was our identity, it was everything. Whereas when I reframed it for myself in terms of like if money were no option, how would you spend your time? For me, that's life first. You're trying to decide what you want your life to look like first, and I know that I'm making the right decisions even if stuff's not working out yet, even if shit's crazy. Like if I'm still like, yeah, you know what? I would still spend my time this way. This is still what I would like to do. Then we're on the right path.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I want to do more of it. Maybe I'd be less pulled in so many different directions or whatever. But
That's pretty interesting. Episode 1 of the show is a good buddy of mine, Marshall. Actually, he's going to be at Ensika with me. You going to Ensika, right?
I am planning on it because I can drive there. It's Detroit. So
Yeah.
we can just make a road trip of it. I
I'm,
didn't make it to the West Coast one this last year.
I'm driving, so I think it's 7.5 hours for me, but yeah. But Marshall, him and I were talking one time about, I think it was in the car on the way to Ensika. It's like you were saying, I would definitely think I would still be doing this because I do this because I don't think I really have a choice anymore.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I don't have to make pots. I love making pots.
yep. Yep.
It's just, and to me, every time you open the kiln, it's like, ooh, I was just talking to who was on the show the other day about how each kiln load informs the next cycle.
Was it Andrew?
Andrew Linderman? Nope, he's coming up next week. It was,
Okay. I just knew I knew he was soon. I didn't know if he happened before me or not.
yeah, we did his already, but I'm going to post him next week. I
Gotcha.
started doing these and just throwing them out there, as I did them. And my wife is like, you have to have some sort of structure, honey. Like,
We love her.
yeah,
We love her.
yeah. You take it down a notch there, Mr. Orange Glasses.
I did mean to ask you if this was literally alive or not. So yeah, now I know. Good. Great.
No, we save them. Had Matt Hiller on the other day. Have you seen Matt's work?
I don't know Matt's work.
It's unbelievable. Just unbelievable. He's the coolest guy. And what was really nice is that when I first asked him, because I know him from Instagram, we chat, and
Yeah.
he was like, "No, it's not really my thing. I'm kind of an introvert, and that's not my thing." That's cool. No worries, man. And he reached out to me today. He says, "You know what? I need to work on that, and I'd love to be on the show." So I said, "What an honor!" So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad he felt comfortable enough to do that with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was I saying? I forgot.
Yeah. I don't.
So yeah, I don't have a choice whether I want to make pots or not. Oh,
Right.
so yeah, we were
Yep.
talking about informing the next cycle. It was Maya,
Yep. Melissa.
Melissa. Yeah, yeah, because it's so fun for me. Like I pulled these out of the kiln yesterday. Look, these are fun.
Nice.
It's kind of crazy. It's the terracige on a black clay, and I just love it. Now this,
yeah, I like the texture.
Yeah, me too. This bottle is going to be just like.
Gotcha.
So that's the plan. So it's just like, Oh, and speaking of which, I saw you. I was geeking out down your timeline yesterday. You had a picture of a mug, and it was done with this one here, the yellow from Speedball.
Oh, yeah. That was probably one of Will's mugs. Is
Lemon?
that from Speedball?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I kind of love it. You can't tell on the tile, but it's a very matte yellow.
It is. Yeah. Speaking of partnerships, Dell called me up before they launched those, and we had some fun putting together. It was really interesting. It really pushed me creatively because I've been in this mode for the last 4 years of teaching potters to take pictures, of simplifying everything, right? Of teaching everybody, like, because most people, nobody actually wants to take pictures of their pots, right? I don't take
Yeah.
As a professional, I don't even want to spend a ton of time taking pictures of my pots, right? I just want to make more pots.
I'm smiling because I was just taking pictures while I was waiting for you to get on, and I was laughing while doing it because I'm like, oh my God, she would be so pissed at this setup.
You're like, you should have just waited. We could have done it.
No, we could have done it taking pictures. So go ahead.
But so it was really, I told Dell, he really stretched my creative muscles because he basically gave me a blank slate of like, here's these 6 glazes we're going to come out with. Will Donovan's going to mail you some mugs. Do what you want. And I was like, what do you mean do what you want? Like, give me like,
yeah.
I'm used to having client briefs, to having like, I only have this much time, or I have this much, this many resources, or like usually there's some type of guardrail.
Freedom. Yeah.
And so for him to say, do what you want, I was like, I was frozen. I was frozen for a while. And then eventually, things got kicking. And then there's a couple more I haven't shared yet. And one was really fun in particular because I made it look like I was at the beach,
Uh-huh.
but I do not live by an ocean. So yeah, so it was real. You're going to have to tell me when this actually goes live so I can post that photo so people can see, so we can have a visual reference and I can explain how it happened, because I'll say it involved a plastic container. Actually, not a hair. I was going to use a hair dryer, a leaf blower, and the patterns of scrapbook paper.
I need to see it now.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It was so much fun. I was like, oh, okay, I still got it. All right.
Actually,
You know?
speaking of which, he just emailed me the other day and he said, "Hey, you
Yeah.
want to test some new colors for us?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely. What do you got?" And he sent me a picture of a table full of jars. And I said, "Yeah, send whatever you want." He said, "Just use them in your process." Okay. So he's
I
going to
love
send
it.
me a box of stuff.
Nice.
They just sent me that giant box the other day. I don't know if you saw the opening I just did, but this is that pink too. This other one,
Ooh, I didn't photograph that one.
this one is living coral. Look at that. Isn't that cool?
All right.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like that.
Now I'm like, oh crap. Now I'm going to make stuff to that. That gives me ideas of what I want my cups and stuff to look like. So now I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
so that's just fun. And as you know, it's just never ending. Every time you open the kiln, you're like, ooh, I want to do that.
Right.
I did these while I was on the phone with Matt the other day.
Ooh, I like the simplicity. See, I'm like I'm I'm a wannabe minimalist, and I like the simplicity of that. Even I feel like the texture is even more effective
Yes.
with just that.
So it's funny you say that. I was talking to Matt Hiller,
Hmm.
and he says, I say to him, I say, I love how perfect your pots are. And he said, I love how imperfect yours are. You're never happy, right?
Yep.
His are just beautiful. I did this one. Lots of flowers and such.
That. See, and that's the thing. Like, I realized over these last few years, because I think when I first started the podcast, or maybe the second year, everybody kept talking about having your voice in clay and your style and your voice, and I was like, I don't know what my voice like.
Yeah.
But now I've no like I forget who said this, but it was notice what you notice, right? So
Hmm.
pay attention to what you pay attention to.
Yeah. What makes you think, oh, that's cool? Yeah.
Yeah, stop and look. And so now I'm noticing the things that I'm really drawn to are things with a lot more movement than how I throw. I have like, I'm still very much trying to do it right, trying to do it perfectly, and it's all very controlled. And so, but what I'm actually really drawn to when it comes to like what pots I want to buy or the people's work that I love are like, those fluid lines that Danny Meisinger gets, or
Yeah.
Sarah Wells Roland, or oh my god, I just forgot the other person's name. This is terrible.
Danny's
It
lines
was
are
like,
fluid. They're 8 feet tall.
well, there's that too. I'm looking just at his pictures.
I think some people don't understand. Like, I like a lot going on. I
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
all the texture. I want the pot to be like it's doing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know
It's
what
like
it is.
happy graffiti.
Yeah, but when I get something, people are expecting that. They just want just a glazed kind of mug, and that just doesn't.
Mm.
It's cool, and there's a place for it, I think, but it doesn't speak to me. It's got to be have some character to me,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something memorable. I don't know.
I mean, I think there is enough people on this planet where you can find the people who want the character and the interest and like the people who want to buy your pots are never going to want to buy our pots, right? Like, do we have everything's all cleared out from holiday stuff? But like, we're making utilitarian, like Francesco's especially, and I love it too, is interested in like those super subtle details of a glaze. But we're doing one dunk glaze, right? Like that's his exploration in terms of glaze research, is like, how do we get an interesting surface in a glaze that we literally dunk it in the bucket, pull it out, and we move on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I think I started that way. I think most everyone starts that way when you're first learning what glaze is, and then you start to understand what glaze does. And when I found Terra Sigillata, I was like, oh wow, that's the mat that I want, the mat surface.
Mm,
And you know what's really cool is I always hated when I would glaze something and then open the kiln and go, shit, that's not even close, right? You know what I mean? Like, what a waste of time. Now, when I put something in the kiln, I know what it's going to look like before it's,
mm. Yeah, 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 yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, these were pretty much what they were when they went in.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Right. Yeah, you're not having that massive chemistry change.
and they can touch each other in the kiln and not stick together.
See, now you're just talking about an efficient use of space, and then you could have me convinced.
My
But
wife,
I'm such a tactile person. I hate the feeling of bisqueware. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I can't stand it. So like a true mat, like that chalk, like anything that's chalky, absolutely not. Whereas like our goal is to have like a satin. This is even still a little bit glossier, but like a
you're mailing
satin
me this.
finish. Which one?
It's because it's really, this one's very chalky and matte.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna mail it to you with like a spooky face inside.
I can't even. It already makes me feel a way in my fingertips just talking about it. I can't do it.
Well, you know what's
I
funny?
can't do it.
My wife now she can't really drink out of a normal mug, like a normal glazed mug, because she's
Hmm.
been drinking out of like the rough texture for so long. She loves it. Who knew?
See, and that's amazing. And there will be plenty of other people that love it. I cannot do it.
It ain't me.
I can't do it. I can't do it. Now, it'd be different on something that I'm not gonna pick up and hold, but I'm like a cuddler,
Yeah,
I'm gonna cuddle a mug. Like if I'm buying a vase of yours and it's gonna sit on the shelf and look beautiful, and I'm gonna think about that texture every day as I stare at it eating my cereal,
yeah, yeah,
then cool,
yeah.
great.
Yeah. As long as I don't
But
have to
like
do it, I love it.
exactly
I say I have kids.
before
Just
we
kidding.
keep
I have three
going,
kids.
you're like, I love you, I mean
Yeah, I
it.
love you. Go away.
Give me 1 second to make sure the dog. I keep hearing the dog, so
Yeah,
give
you're
me
right.
give me
Yeah,
1 second. Since we are not fully live, you can just
I
delete this part.
yeah. I'll probably just leave it in anyway.
Great, fantastic, soups for. I told you we should have recorded earlier when I was just moving the laptop around every position. It would have been fantastic content. I might not actually be able to get out the
I
drywall work.
blocked your the
There's
dog.
skim coating. Well, I've got the dog. So Hendrix is 80 pounds. He's part mastiff, part pit bull, part plot hound. So he's a lot. People either love him or they're scared to death of him. And
Cool.
Francesco's not home right now. And we've got some drywall work happening, and they're skim coating the wall right behind the door. So if I open the door, I'll mess everything up. So we'll just assume Hendrix is fine and that he's barking because he's mad that he's blocked upstairs and can't. We have a serious FOMO dog. Like he wants to be where anybody is, and he's upset if he's not. So,
I have one of those. Her name's Lady.
yep.
She freaks out if you close the door. She freaks out. Like she wants to be in the
Yeah.
room. Like,
Yeah.
geez,
Oh, yeah.
you know. It's like
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
was little, my dad would be going somewhere, and I'd be like, "Where are you going? I want to go." And he'd be like, "Oh,
Right.
we're gonna go ride go karts, and we're gonna go see a new roller coaster." And I'd be like, "I want to go," And he'd be like, "We're going to the supermarket. You're not missing anything. We'll be back in 45 minutes." But that was my dad. That he just would mess with me as a kid.
So if that's how you were as a kid, do you wonder why your dog's like
Yeah, yeah. I was like, I turned out all right. What are you talking about?
I
Look at that. We haven't even looked at any of these questions. All this, we're just having fun.
mean,
So yeah, see, I wrote down. We don't even have enough.
I've made a pot in an hour, which is the most ridiculous thing I could possibly say.
This is good for potters to see. It's
Right?
not that easy.
At least I did just center in a reasonable amount of time, so that makes me feel better. As long as people get to the second hour of our conversation, they'll know I can actually make a pot.
So where did you learn how to throw anyway? And you got an art degree?
Technically, yes, but not in pottery or photography for that matter.
Really?
I went to DePaul University in Chicago, which is particularly known for its conservatory style music and theater school.
Okay.
The theater school is like even more intense than the music school, and that's saying something.
I was a
The
theater
theater
teacher at Alfred.
that tracks. Um, the, uh, the theater school at DePaul could get in as a freshman, like, for that first semester, but then you had auditions the second one, and you might be out at that point.
Oh,
So, like, they were constantly cutting people as you went through year by year.
interesting.
I was not in the theater school, I was in the music school. I was an oboe performance major.
You played oboe?
Super nerd. Yep.
Super nerd. That's cool. Oboe is such a great sound.
Yeah. I mean, it's either beautiful or sounds like a dying duck. So,
Do you
like, there is no in between.
do you still play it all?
I literally just sold my horns about 6 months ago
Wow.
because I realized, so obviously oboe and the English horn is basically like a big oboe. Like, it's the way, clarinet, bass clarinet, same idea. So I had both of those, but they're woodwinds, right? They're wood instruments. And if you don't use them, they can fall into disrepair, and they are beautiful instruments. I mean, talking about craftsmanship of stuff, like, they're stunning. And so I just realized, if I've got spare time, I'm going to sit down and do this. I'm not going to go whittle, like, I'm not going to go make a reed, because also they're double reeds. So you've got to, like, always be making reeds, and the weather's changing, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So it just was one of those, like, I don't want these beautiful pieces of artwork, really, in many ways, to not, like, they should be used, they should be played. So yeah, so I only just recently sold them.
That's very interesting. I tell people that all the time. One thing I noticed as I got older is that everything new you want to do requires you quitting something that you're already doing. That's not
Yep,
time in the day,
yep,
which is
yep.
so yeah. So you went to DePaul. So you were talking about you met your husband in Italy and you lived in England and you worked with
Yeah.
that journey.
So I started as a noble performance
Hold on one
major.
second. I got to get my dog too. Hold on, hold on.
Yep,
She's out
yep.
there freezing her butt off, looking around. She's getting old. She's looking around. I got to bring her in.
Lady.
She's like standing in the yard looking around. Come on. And it's probably 11 degrees out.
I was gonna say, so are you still outside of New York then?
Yeah, I'm just south of Rochester, New York. Yep.
Okay, yep.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. So I started at DePaul's Noble Performance major, and then switched over to graphic design, because that to me was the employable art, right? That was the thing. That was kind of like the safe way to be in the arts, if you will, because you could get an office job and for a whatever. And then I graduated in 2009.
Wait, what year is it?
Yeah, right. There, a few things had happened recently. So, thinking I had made this change to be so much safer, had the internships, had the 4.0, had everything on the checklist that you were supposed to have. And sometimes that checklist doesn't matter. Spoiler. Also, DePaul is really known for it's kind of the crux of, how some schools are, like, if you go to Kentucky, it's basketball, right? That's like the thing. Obviously, if you go to Alfred, it's ceramics. If you go to, I don't know, wherever else, Notre Dame, it's football. Like, there's things places are known for.
Yep.
DePaul's kind of underlying mission is all social justice and community service.
Okay.
Like, there is an entire service day that happens on the first Monday of the school year. So, like, freshmen, students across the board do a day of community service before classes even start.
Wow.
That's effectively your first day of class.
Wow.
So I had gotten really involved in a variety of different organizations. And so the kind of the normal thing to do, at least in the circles I was in after school, was to go and do a year of service work through a variety of, people did all sorts of different organizations. Think of it like, some people did the Peace Corps and stuff like that, but also things that were not in any way associated with the government. So I got accepted into this program in England that was a after school art center for at-risk 8 to 12-year-olds. And it was the first time in my life where I blended art and social justice together. And it was like
Neat. Yeah.
mind-blowing. It was incredible. It was incredible. It also, during that time, the work I was doing there wasn't completely full-time. So there was a refugee center in the same area that needed some extra help too. So we worked there as well. Just different nonprofits and stuff like that. But that's where I learned, that's like the first time technically I sat down at a wheel, was that year. Yep, because that center, it's a place called Kids Cabin. It's in the Walker neighborhood of Newcastle upon Tyne, so super northern England. Not at all the accent most Americans think of
Yeah.
with British.
They,
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
like like
Totally different.
like what was that movie with Brad Pitt with the Pikeys?
Oh, shit. Is that Train Spotting? No.
Snatch.
Yeah. Yeah, this is so the people that live in Newcastle are called Geordies. So the
Uh-huh.
Geordie accent. There was a show for a while called The Geordie Shore also, which was
Really?
entertaining. I just made a cylinder because what else do you do when you're talking and you don't know what you're gonna make? I just defaulted. So yeah, so this place called Kids Cabin. I mean, it was incredible because I feel like when Americans think of after school arts, we think of like, I don't know, paper mache and giant pieces of paper where you trace yourself or something like this.
Yeah.
Whereas this was a purpose built building that had we did cooking classes, we did woodworking, we did bike repairs, we did welding, like glass work, ceramics, dance, music, like
Yeah.
it was incredible. It was incredible. So, and I actually interviewed Victoria, is the one who was the original ceramicist there when I first got there, and she's a good friend of mine. I interviewed her on the podcast last year, I think.
Okay.
I don't remember what episode number, but so I like, of course, fell in love with clay right away, totally loved it,
It's addictive.
right? Not to no one's surprise. But so I was mostly assisting her in the pottery room with these 8 to 12-year-olds. She finds out she's pregnant and is like, cool, I'm going to be taking a leave of like maternity
You're in
leave.
charge.
You're in charge.
Huh? Yeah.
Here's the buttons to press on the kiln. Just make sure everything's dry. Good to go.
Oh my
And
God.
of course, we've got 2 wheels. I made a lot of pinch pots with kids, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But whenever they got on the wheel, of course they would want you to, like, they'd be frustrated, they'd be annoyed, it's not turning out how they want it to turn out.
Yeah.
But I'm no better than them at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so I would be like, it's really important that we finish what we start. Like, you have to see it through, just keep going, framing it as if I'm teaching them some big grandiose lesson when in reality I couldn't throw any better than they could.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time.
It's funny.
But
What a
that
great.
was from like the fall of 2009 to 2010.
Yeah.
And then I came home when I did, number one, because my visa was expiring. And number two, because I had promised my cousin I would photograph his wedding.
Okay.
So came home, was applying for graphic design jobs in anticipation of coming home. Obviously, it's 2010, nobody's hiring still, nothing's happening. And so then when because I had worked for a wedding photographer in college, I had always liked photography, but I didn't really think of it as a career option, right? The guy I worked for in college in my hometown didn't make it particularly enticing. I pretty much set up my business in the opposite way that he had his. But then yeah, did my cousin's wedding and did it on my own and realized when I was in charge and I got to do it on my own, I actually really liked it. I was good at it. Yeah, there was, it was bringing together a variety of skill sets that I had, and I've always said not getting a job was the best thing that ever happened. That's why I started my business.
Isn't it crazy what leads you to what you should be doing?
I mean, I would say should be doing is the pivot now. I think wedding photography and starting a business and owning a business taught me so much, but I also kind of fell into it, right? Like it wasn't the plan. And I think now I can look back and realize I never quite fully felt like I fit. I would often think of myself as the awkward younger cousin, especially as like I grew into luxury events and all this type of stuff, which was just like a world that was not my world whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hilarious now to be talking to you, like, no makeup, hair pulled back, and a headband,
I love it.
covered in mud,
Privileged.
loving it. Whereas, like, wedding photography, Rebecca was nails done, full face of makeup, all the, you just, I felt like I had to do all these things.
Uh-huh.
And so, that kicked off in 2010, and I was basically head down, pedal to the metal, grow, 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 go, go, go for 10 years.
Hmm.
And in
Which takes its toll.
Yep, yep. And so at a certain point, I want to say like 2015 probably
Hmm.
was when I was like, I need to get back into something that is messy, right? Like I need to get off the computer because really photography is mostly just being on the computer.
Yeah.
I need an outlet to be off the computer. I need an outlet to be creative that I don't have to like answer to any clients. And so that's when I found a community studio in Chicago. Shout out to Lincoln Square Pottery Studio, and fell right back in love with it all over again, and have never.
Never looked back. It's
Mm,
I love hearing the backstories of people that found their way to clay and or found their way
yeah,
back to clay, which is
yeah, yeah. And then it was through Meg, the woman who runs the Lincoln Square Pottery Center. She told me about the program in Italy because I was looking for, 2020 was going to be 10 years in business. And I was like, I need to recalibrate. I need to take a minute and pause and figure out like what's the next steps? What's the next phase? Is this what I want to keep doing forever? Like, there was no thought in my mind of stopping shooting weddings. But I also knew I kind of needed to pause and recalibrate because you can't keep going like that forever.
yeah.
Um, and so I got into this 3-month long program that started in January of 2020 in Italy.
Oh, no, huh? And got stuck there? Or?
I didn't get stuck there. I maybe wanted to get stuck there,
Yeah.
but that's where I went. That's where I met Francesco.
Oh, great. He's,
Um,
he's from it. He's from Italy.
he's from Italy. I'm the only reason he moved to the US, to be honest, for which I apologize frequently.
Sorry, man. Every day.
Yeah.
Morning, honey. Sorry.
It actually, I should change that. It's Hendrix's fault. Like, had there not been an 80-pound dog at home waiting for me, no offense to my lovely family and friends and parents, and like, love you.
No offense, guys. Love you, but I came home for the dog.
Love you, but it wouldn't have been a hard sell to be like, hey, do you want to have a place in Italy you can come visit? Like, I think they would have been all right.
Yeah. No, I love Italy and I love Italian. I just love that language. It's so beautiful.
I'm working on it. We're getting there.
That's a tough one.
So, yeah. So, and then obviously everything changed at
You
that point.
sure did.
So, I will say, I feel like I got kind of, I don't know if lucky is the right word, but it's the only one I got so far. Because I was already in the brain space of like rethinking, taking a pause and recalibrating and thinking about what I was doing. It was almost like that extended pause that COVID brought all of us. And I mean, I literally every aspect of my life was paused. I couldn't work. There were no events. The guy I had fallen madly in love with was on the other side of the ocean. I was living in an apartment by myself with my dog. Like,
You got to write.
I could do nothing.
You got to write a book about that.
I believe it's
Hallmark.
um it's a Hallmark movie, 100%. I mean, we could double down on the Hallmark level because I skipped the 2019 version of the story, which is I was married before, and so like girl gets divorced, girl goes to Italy to find herself. Mike, I packed empty journals. Like, I was not going to Italy to meet a guy. I was
It's
going to like sit
it's
by myself and meditate.
it's Eat, Pray, Love.
It is. It really is.
You are living Eat,
It,
Pray, Love. That's
it
awesome.
really,
My wife
it
and
really.
stepdaughter watch those Hallmark movies all the time, and I'm like, it's the
Tis the season.
story. It's the same
Yep.
story over and over again. Let me guess. He's a businessman who came out to the country for a meeting, and his car broke down. You know what I mean? Oh yeah.
Or she's a high-powered executive that went back to her hometown to
Yes.
to take a break.
Yeah, and her family owns a florist, and she's just helping them for the holidays. And he
And
said he happens to walk in.
he's secretly a member of a royal family because there's so many of those.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm Prince. I'm Prince Arnold. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it's
See,
true.
it's
It's
just
true.
whatever.
And it's funny because, like, even though I was a person, I've photographed, I don't know, 300 weddings over the course of my life. And so you hear people talk about their love stories and you hear people use the word soulmate and all this type of stuff. And frankly, I would roll my eyes. I was not like, I was very much like, you can make a life with lots of people and that life is just going to look different depending on who you choose. So I was like so pragmatic. And then all of this happened. And I was like, okay.
Crap. You people are ridiculous. And then, oh,
Some, yep.
oh, that's great.
Yep. So, be careful the things that you say.
Yeah, careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, yeah, everything effectively changed from there. I realized I didn't want wedding photographer on my tombstone forever and ever. Amen. I obviously got even more deep down the rabbit hole of the clay community, which is just full of lovely human beings.
Oh, they're great.
Clay people are the best.
They are.
Francesco came over to the States in September of 2020, having never been to the US before.
Buongiorno.
Esatto. Bienvenuti. Uh, and like the plan was for him to just be in Chicago for 90 days. He had never lived in a major city, he had never been to Chicago, never been to the US. Like the idea was like we had just been apart for 5 months and we're sick of it. So he was gonna come and stay for 90 days like as a tourist and then go home and then we'd figure it out from there.
Mhm.
And on about day 89, we were like, we don't really want to not be together anymore. It was like, oh, it wasn't just Tuscany. Like,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
was
yeah.
legit.
Yeah. Everything's easier in Tuscany, I'm sure.
I mean, listen, you do have to make sure you recalibrate when your first date is walking through like an 18th century walled or 14th century walled city.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you need to make sure that it is the person and not
And you
the.
go back here and you go walk through Walmart at 10 o'clock.
He knows this. I have told him this. I was like, you know what? It's really good that I didn't like that this did work out and I didn't have to come home. Because I remember thinking on one of like our first date that like coming back to the US and dating was really gonna suck.
Yeah, yeah,
because because it was just like, you can't top this. Like, what are you supposed to,
yeah, yeah. You've
you know,
ruined the rest of the world for me. Yeah, yeah.
precisely. So yes, long story short, long story long, we eloped in the living room. 11 months to the day of our first date.
You had one day left on the visa and said, "That's it. We're going to get married." Or
One day after, actually, 91, day 91, December 14th.
very cool.
So, yep.
Well, happy anniversary in what, two
Thank
days?
you. Tomorrow.
Well, happy anniversary.
Tomorrow. Yeah, 5 years tomorrow. So,
You guys should go to Walmart.
I'd rather go to San Gimignano. Not gonna lie. Oh.
So as a photographer, getting sick of doing weddings and stuff,
Hmm.
saw pictures of people's pottery and we're like, what are these people doing? No, that's a terrible photo.
It was not like that. It was not like that.
Let me help these poor potters.
Don't you dare splice that out of this conversation and use it as
Talk about context. No,
that's
wait.
going to be the marketing.
So would I do that? No. So Francesco, he was a potter
He was.
in Italy.
Is. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I shouldn't say was.
That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he learned production pottery, gosh, I don't know, 15 years ago, something like that.
Mhm.
Very much your traditional way of being an apprentice, learning from a master craftsman.
Very cool. Yep.
He had to trim pots for 3 months before he ever was
Yeah.
allowed, quote unquote, to throw.
Yep.
So the way he thinks about making is just completely different and fascinating to me than whatever I was ever taught, right? Because when you learn as a hobbyist, you're just having fun. You're not thinking you're trying to learn how to do the thing, you're trying to learn how to center or whatever, but you're not thinking about like, how do I trim this so that the bevel on the bottom of this mug creates a sharp line when I wipe a sponge around the bottom so I can get the glaze off without waxing.
Mm-hmm.
I should find here, hold on. I gotta find you this because this is something that like when I realized this is down like the details that he's thinking about, everything. Clay is fascinating to me because it's like everything connects to everything, right? Like the stiffness of the clay he throws with is how he's able to throw a 24-ounce mug with 500 grams of clay because he can get it so thin because it's stiff. You can't do that with soft clay.
Which is how many pounds again?
It's less than a pound. It's
not
like
really.
barely a pound.
Wow. Yeah.
And do we have one? It's like 5.5 inches tall and 4 inches wide, something like that.
With 3/4 of a pound. That's pretty amazing.
Yep.
I don't usually do feet. Like a lot of times I'll just rasp and leave a flat bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just do the sunshine cob when I go boop and I just push it in. But
Yep.
sometimes I just carve feet. I just gouge them out. I don't put it on the wheel and trim anymore. I gouge it. But
Yep.
as you can see, I fired these and didn't sign them.
Good job. But yeah, here.
Good job,
Here's the
genius.
bevel. So like see
Yeah.
that
Yep.
little bevel.
Yep.
There was somebody talking about like getting a straight line of glaze, like asking how people wax their pieces to get a straight line. And I was like, we don't wax our pieces. And they were like, what? How
What?
is it possible?
How
And
dare
it's possible because of this tiny little bevel here. It just creates an edge that then we take a big giant sponge. Hold on. A bigger sponge, like not half a sponge like this, but because of that little bevel. Oh, hold on. The light doesn't show you this way. That little bevel there is how he trims almost like all of the pieces have this edge because then you take this and you
Yep.
go,
Whoop. Done.
and it's done.
Yep. I
It's
get that
amazing.
little bevel edge with this tool, this little tool of death.
Yes.
So,
Is that right next to a metal rib?
oh, and then the flexible metal. I cut myself on a rib the other day.
I've never used one.
A metal
I
rib?
will. Absolutely not.
Yeah, they're
I'm
dead.
way too clumsy. I am way too clumsy.
And they
I
just
won't have any fingers left.
like, I mean, think about clay has got sand, so you're just sharpening that blade as you go.
The most tools we use, this is actually the perfect container to have pulled up. All of these are old credit cards.
Yeah.
I get in trouble if I once threw away like a points card or whatever, and Francesca was like pulling it out of the garbage. It's like, what are you doing? That's
Yeah.
perfectly good. So like,
I have a piece of one that I cut, and I cut the angle on it, and it's like a half a piece of credit card. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
one that I use specifically when I do jar lids because it just makes the perfect little 90-degree pointy angle. I don't know why. Yeah, I have to have that one. Yep.
So many. So, and this is all we do because that Kentucky Mudworks Mulholland clay is so lovely. When he's trimming, he'll just burnish the inside of the rim of a mug. He'll burnish the bottom, and
Yep. Yeah.
that's it. That's it. Smooth as butter.
Where can we buy your stuff? Do you guys have a website? Hold on a second. CarraTerra. Carraterra.com.
I think there's still some vases up there right now.
Isn't that crazy?
It's kind of slim pickings right now.
I just took a bunch of stuff off my website because they ended up I took them over to a gallery that wanted to restock. So I said, all right, I got new stuff to put up anyway, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's funny when you go to most potters' websites, they all say update coming. Have you noticed that? Well, there's the FedEx guy. What do we order now?
I was going to say the dog's going to tell you real quick, which I just heard Hendrix again. So
yeah, I hear my dog going nuts too. I liked what you said about NCICA. You said it's 6,000 people who like playing in the mud. We're all weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love NCICA. I'm excited. I think I might do something with Speedball this year. I might do a demo in their booth. You know what I might do, actually? I was talking to them about doing the podcast from the Speedball booth during NCICA.
Oh, that sounds like an audio nightmare to me, but could be fun.
Yep. Yeah.
you should see if I don't know if they're still doing, so we did those podcast recordings for a couple of years in a row, and then they changed the way they wanted to do it because they wanted more people involved,
Uh-huh.
which totally makes sense. But you should see what the situation is. Or I should ask Ben Carter.
Yeah, ask Ben. I want to talk to Ben, actually. I'd love to get inside somehow into that Brickyard network.
Mm-hmm.
I did
It's a
look
very exclusive club.
I did look up how to like be a part of the podcast stuff. Something FedEx guys dropping big boxes off. I always feel bad too. So
Tis
I'm
the
like, hey,
season.
good luck carrying that down my snowy driveway. Sorry. I looked up doing this podcast and see two ways. I was either going to rent my own booth and just do podcasts there, which is
Yeah,
very
that'd be
expensive,
fun. Yes.
and or
We
I was
should
going
think about that as a group thing. Oh, I totally
to in the
did. I
podcast.
wasn't paying attention. I've messed this up.
But the Insika, like the paperwork to have a podcast was like, oh my God. It was like 10 pages of mumbo jumbo.
So that was the one thing I told people last year who were talking to me about potentially applying for that, where I was like, just fill out to the best of your ability and get it in there, because I don't know how many people, I don't know how popular it was, because I think a lot of people were put off by the application. Because they
Yeah.
were like, what I want to do doesn't fit any of this. And it was like, well, but if they get nobody.
It's like,
So I don't know.
a little bit. Like we're not, this podcast is not changing worlds. It's not political. It's not in depth. It's not academia. It's just Potters talking. And I don't,
Yeah.
they wanted to know, well, what are we going to talk about that's going to affect the world of ceramics? I'm like, I don't know. It's like,
We'll find out. How
Yeah.
are we going to know if we don't talk?
so to put it in perspective, there's a thing called the PGA show, the Professional Golf America show. It's in Florida every year. And I used to go down to it every year. The club I work for would send me down there. And we're a small kind of mom and pop golf course. But it was so geared towards these high-end private clubs. And I'm like, you're forgetting about the little people that play golf 4 times a week that are not in a private club. They're the ones that are buying your golf clubs and your golf balls, but you're trying to sell $200 shirts to the private club.
Yep. This to me applies to Potters perfectly, because I think there is, and this was the case for photography too, for sure. There's this perception of success at certain levels, right? So if you can say, when I could say that Salesforce was one of my a legacy client of mine for corporate photography, people know Salesforce. They've heard of that brand. It's a really big deal. It's a Fortune 500 company. So like it means something to people. But it's a smaller percentage of people, in this example, companies, but like what we're talking about, the percentage of people who have private club memberships is a smaller percentage than the percentage of people like my dad, who's been playing golf twice a week for my entire life.
Yeah.
Now more because he's retired when there's not 10 inches of snow on the ground, like who, every Christmas we'd buy golf balls for, or who wants a new polo shirt, or, whatever.
Yep.
I was just talking to a friend about this, because the company she's at is trying to go after all these big enterprise clients, when in reality, the majority of companies in the US are small businesses. Like your population size. So it's kind of like, you can go after those higher levels if that's the type of brand and the business that you want to be known for. If you want to make work that's always going to cost, you got to sell it for $2,000 for one jar because of what you're doing with it, or that's what you want to be known for, then cool. But it's a totally different thing it's just a completely different. Yeah, it's a totally different thing than trying to go for the 50% of people that are just average.
Yeah. Yeah. Or below average. I wouldn't say below average, but they're rarity, right? Kind of reminds me when I was talking to Becca and Ryan on the show about the sponsorships, and they were saying, oh, we charge this much a month. And I was like, really? I said, I would do it just for clay. And she goes, no. She goes, this is, like you said, this is a niche market, right? You're out there touching people that, if you touch 5,000 people a week, that's a lot in this market.
I think I need to ask Becca and Ryan for a cut, because I gave them my pitch deck to give to sponsors. So now I'm like, hold on a second. How many do they got? Like, wait a second.
What is your pitch deck? Is it that
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me.
I'll send it to you, but apparently I got to get a cut. I need to work out a percentage here.
She sent me a sheet of paper that she used, and I altered it to
There's
be mine, and I sent it out to a couple of companies, and they were like, "Yeah, no."
Theirs is probably way more simple because in true me fashion, I feel more confident when I've like overthought something and made it all perfect and done all this stuff. And in reality, you can just like send a Google Doc and move on with your life.
I think that's one of the problems for me is I'm not. I am like I'm just the easiest kind of like let's just talk about it. Like why does it have to be so formal? Like, hey, do you want to sponsor the show? It's a great show and it's going to be fun. But
I think if you already have those relationships with companies in the clay world, Dell or somebody at wherever, then I think that totally works. But like I'm the new kid on the block for the clay world. A lot of people don't know, I don't have the like clay pedigree of having been tapped into an Alfred network or a RISD network or a whatever. And so it was like I didn't have an in to start those conversations,
mhm, yeah,
right? As opposed to approaching it the way that I knew from photography in terms of, kind of putting together the benefits and why they might be interested and what they're going to get out of it and all that type of stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So, I don't know.
And it's tough. I mean, maybe they'll come around once the show gets bigger, but I don't really care at this point. I'm just having fun. I was telling someone on the show that the other day. I said, in a way, this is kind of selfish. And they're like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Because I want to talk to you."
Yes, I agree completely. That's like, so when I started the Maker's Playbook, I started because I had enough experience being self-employed that when I got into clay and I saw everybody on Instagram and whatever doing all these shop updates and whatnot, I could look at what was being said externally and be like, there's information here we don't have.
Mhm.
Like something is missing. And if a lot of people are getting into clay and want to make this their life's work, they need to be fully informed because just seeing somebody who's got, 30,000 followers on Instagram promoting a shop update, talking about it selling out. Oop, I think my AirPods are about to die. Rinse and repeat every 2 or 3 months. But then I do the math on what they're charging for those pieces and how much they're making and how much I know running a business costs and salary and healthcare and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I'm like, the math isn't mathing. So
Hmm.
that's how it started. But then, as Francesco and I started our business and all sorts of other stuff, it really was this incredible opportunity to have an excuse to have the conversations that I really want to ask the questions I wanted to know,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
I mean, I wanted to talk to you for 2 years now. This is great, and we're an hour and a half in.
that's wild to me. That is so wild to me.
We've barely scratched the surface, and we're an hour and a half in.
I
We're
know.
gonna have to do a part two.
Listen, people will not be surprised by that.
The two of us talking forever? No way.
Me talking too much? What?
Gosh, yeah, that's funny. So yeah, where do we go here? So as far as photographing pots,
Yeah, right. That's what we're talking.
I think from perusing your Instagram that you
Mhm.
are the person that hates the gradiated background. I knew it. I'm like, she hates it. And that's why I was laughing when I was taking photos earlier. I'm like, she's going to hate this one.
That's what you were doing?
I'm
Oh,
going to send it
Mike,
to you.
come on. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. And that's what we were talking about before backtracking. You
Say,
were
look,
saying, did I just look at people's pictures and be like, dear God, I have to help them. You're killing me.
you're
I'll
like,
explain.
it's like a vampire in sunlight. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That is accurate.
So is that just lazy? Is it just an easy background? Is it because I don't
It's
like
not an easy background. That's the thing. It's not easy. So when the reason I got into it, I mean, number one, it's an obvious fit, right? I had this professional experience and I could help people. But it's not because I was out there looking at people's photos going, potters need my help. That's
yeah,
not what happened.
well,
That's
that's
not what happened. What really happened is I was I was at my community studio in Chicago, and that's the conversation that kept happening over and over and over again. somebody would be, somebody would be starting to sell their work for the first time, a member at the community studio, and be trying to set up an Etsy or whatever, and be like, and everybody knew that I was a photographer, and they'd be like, Rebecca, how do I take pictures of my pots? Or how do I price my pots? Or how does this whole being self-employed thing work? So that's what started it all. And the reason I hate the gradiated background, like, if multiple things. Number one, it is not an easy background without studio lighting.
Yep.
So if you're trying to keep things simple, which is my like philosophy when it comes to teaching, because
Yep.
I'm assuming what we all want is more time in the day to do this,
Yeah.
right? To
Yeah.
make the work we like to make.
Sure.
We don't want to, I don't know how your show works. Can I?
The last person that asked me, I said, fuck yeah.
Great. I was like, I can say faff around if I want to be British about it.
I'm actually quite impressed you haven't yet.
I mean, we dropped a shit, but that's like low level to me. I'm like, meh, whatever. It's always before I F-bomb that I'm like, let me
Yeah.
So if you're
taking this to the next level,
if you're listening with small kids, please pause.
yes, we apologize. But no, before you move on with that, I agree, because like I'll make pots and I got a whole table full, and then I go, oh Christ, that's 2 hours of taking pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So
like, nobody, like, I don't want to spend more time behind the camera either. And I think that really surprises people to realize. And so if the goal is take a representative photo of your work as quickly as possible in order to get back to making more of that work, the gradiated background is not helping you, because it takes, if you are comfortable with studio lighting and setting up 2 to 3 to maybe 4 lights, and that's like you've been taught the traditional way, but you were taught it and you know how to do it and you can do it quickly, great. Don't change what you're doing. Keep going. That's fantastic. Who I'm talking to are the people who come to me saying, I really struggle getting my glaze colors to look right. I'm only using my cell phone. What about glare? What about this? What about, like, this is really hard. Help. Number one, we're going to get rid of the gradated background.
You're not going to like this.
Because the most universally available thing for everyone across the board, regardless of your budget, is a window.
Yeah. We lost you. There we go. No, that's fine. It restarted. Yeah, this stuff's the best. It kept going. Let's see. Preview takes here. We stop recording. Okay. Do you have to hit refresh, it says? Okay, see what happens. Check it out. Perfect. Gotcha. Okay. What are the odds of it coming back? Pretty low, I'd say. Well, we'll find out. Anyway, so I'm just going to liquid quartz these things while we wait for her. These are fun. I'm excited about these. This one had like a chunk that came out of it, and I left it there. I didn't even try to fill it. And people were like, oh, that's cool. Really? That was an accident. And I left it. Can't hurt. See, she didn't come back yet. No. There we go. I gotta sand those first. Oh, let's see. Rebecca. He's not back yet. You hear the kiln in the background. I'm heating the studio with it right now. I should probably turn that off. The fan just went off, so that's
all right. Here we go.
Hey, you're alive.
I heard the kiln going.
Did you hear it?
All right, so we got echo cancellation going on now because I don't have headphones.
See something funny over there? See the kiln? See that right there? That's like it's like a filter that I have, a filter fan, but I put it on a shelf. I put it on a shelf, a kiln shelf, and put it going this way because it's blowing warm air across the studio. It's going at 150 degrees.
Well, I was so confused because I can hear it clicking, and I didn't realize you had 2 kilns, to where I was like, why do you have it on with a fan but open? Second camera.
Yep, heating the studio.
Yeah. So
I'm going to buy one of those garage heaters that goes up in the corner, those big square ones.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about that is it's going to blow clay dust around. But
not ideal.
Well, I'm already 55. I made it this far. I don't have much time now, Rebecca.
That's part of our problem, because the basement, I was saying at the beginning, like all of our glaze, both kilns and all the, like, it looks like a drug lab in the basement, right? All the glaze materials, everything. But our checking account would look so different. Anyway, but the basement is it's a cellar. It is completely unfinished. You are standing on a cement slab surrounded by cinder blocks. So right now it's probably, what is it out? I think it's like today's high is like 11 degrees or something.
Ugh.
So it's maybe 40 degrees in the basement.
Oh God. Yeah.
Maybe. So glazing in the, nope, it's 6 degrees, feels like -13.
Yeah. It's lovely living up here, isn't it?
Why do we do this?
I
Why?
watched this thing yesterday on. It was a guy. He lives in like Manitoba or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, and there's a big river that runs through the city, and he surfs the river. He's got like big long dreadlocks and a beard, and he puts on a wetsuit and he paddles out into the river and he surfs back against the river
Yeah.
on a
Yep.
surfboard with big ice blocks coming at him. It's -40 degrees and he's in the water.
The waves on Lake Michigan are bigger in the winter than in the summer. So there are people that surf Lake Michigan that I have seen, and they've got like their frozen snot drips,
Yeah.
like ice snot.
No, thank you. The older I get, the more I start to realize why people move to Florida. I go, I get it. I kind of get it. Yeah.
I mean, again, Tuscany, it's an option.
Tuscany. Yes, it is. They do like, there's some sort of residency program that goes to Tuscany every year. I'm like, ooh, I want to go. I said to my wife, there was this long-term residence thing at one of the places, like Idlewild or something like that. I'm like, oh, I want to go to one of those. And she says, go ahead, please go. I'll be gone for 3 months. She goes, great.
Okay with that?
Yeah. Wait a second. Dang it.
Do we need to talk about this?
That's a whole different show.
Right? Oh man. Oh god. No.
Well, we're at
No.
an hour and 40 minutes here. My goodness.
Barely talk. I don't know that we talked about anything useful, but it sure was fun.
Useful schmooshful. We got part 2 for that.
An hour and 40 minutes, and I made 2 not great bud vases.
Oh, wait, let's spend the last 5 minutes watching you throw. Because we know
Dear
you
God,
love it.
let's not. Let's not. I might as well just tear a hole in it right now. Like, I don't know what it is about. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's just like there's
Go as
something
wide
about
as you can. Make a big flat bill out of that.
this is also why I don't like there's not a lot of content on the internet. Like I don't even record myself all that often for socials or whatever because because for me this is like my off time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm helping Francesco and all of that type of stuff, like if I'm at the wheel throwing, like I'm just doing something for fun.
Mm-hmm.
So then I won't record because if I know I'm recording myself, I will be all out of whack. We were just talking about this in the community actually because every once a month I do a photo Q&A in there and we were talking about filming yourself in the studio and I was saying like in my opinion if somebody else can stay focused and film themselves at the same time that's awesome but when we do it for ourselves we just set aside a chunk of time and it's like that hour is when we're going to film and I'll be like okay I don't have any you know I want to talk about trimming. I don't have any clips of trimming, so I'll make a point of trimming that day for the sake of filming, not for the sake of actually having a finished piece.
You said something earlier about you just threw a cylinder and you're like, now what do I do? That's one of the reasons I became a hand builder. I was obsessed with throwing on the wheel. Like I love throwing on the wheel. I could throw mugs and bowls and stuff all day long. But
Mm-hmm.
I found myself about 10 years ago. I remember the moment. I threw like a really tall cylinder with like 5 pounds of clay, big, tall 14-inch cylinder or whatever. And then I leaned back in the chair and I looked at it on the wheel and went, well, now what? You know? I just felt like you're kind of stuck. And then when I go through like visiting artist things at high schools and I throw for people,
Mm-hmm.
I make sure to tell them that this is like a tenth of the process.
Right, exactly.
Throwing is the fun part, but it's just the beginning. Like at this big bottle here, like if I was to throw this bottle, you'd have to throw a big giant cylinder and then cut the heck out of it. So I just build it.
So it's less efficient, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh when Kara May and I talked on my podcast and she was saying she makes potter skin lotion and she was saying like how
I
did
need
she
to know
phrase
what that is.
you don't know potter skin? Oh, your dry, cracky hands are about to be transformed, sir. Just you wait.
I'm writing it down now. Potter's. Okay.
business. Her and her wife live in Asheville, and they make fantastic lotion specifically for people that work with their hands. If my memory serves, and it could be wrong, so talk to Kara directly or listen to the interview. Her grandpa was a mechanic and her mom was an RN. I
Mm-hmm.
think obviously those are people who have dry hands, and then she's in pottery, so there's more dry hands. And so she created a lotion, and it's not greasy. It's a lotion that I can actually get Francesco to use because it's not greasy.
Yeah, I use Salt and Stone. I think it is. My daughter got me that stuff. Smells great, and I just whoop, 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 whoop. But yeah, it gets all cracky in the winter. Absolutely.
But the way she phrased it to tell the kids when you do an intro, like do a demo, was what is the real job? So for her with making lotion, the thing that you get excited about getting into, throwing, is not the thing that you spend the majority of your time on, right? So like making lotion, it's like, well, it wasn't coming up with interesting scents or whatever. It's putting jars inside boxes. That's the job,
Yeah,
technically.
yeah, 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 yeah. I say that a lot on this show. You know, I'm actually I would love to be a person who just made and sold pottery, but I would be really hungry. You know.
Yes.
Well, who knows? Just keep trying.
It
Okay,
depends.
let's
It
go.
always depends on the goal. This is the phrase that people hear me say a million times. It depends.
Yeah. What is your end goal? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if our natural style of work for both, because both Francesco and I have pretty a lot of agreement on aesthetic. So I always say "our," even if he's doing the production stuff and I'm doing something else. But uh, if it was like heavy duty surface decorations, graffito, and layered underglazes and all sorts of stuff like that, like the reality of making that full time versus the reality of making utilitarian wear for restaurants full time is a totally different reality.
Mm-hmm.
You're both saying you want to be a full time potter, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah. 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 That's a good point. Yeah. Well, I'm lucky to have a job, and I don't know. We'll lean toward this more and more as we get a little bit older, I guess.
I mean,
I mean, the end
I
goal is for me is just to be as happy as I can, and go to bed with a smile on my face. Right.
there we go.
My end goal is to have a good day, one
Yep.
day at a time.
Yep.
Speaking of which, I got to drive back down an hour. As soon as we get done here, I got to go drive all the way back down to my daughter's school. I drove down, picked her up yesterday, drove
Yeah.
back last night. We get back last night. She goes, "Oh, I left all my medications and stuff in my locker," and it's a Saturday. I had to I called transportation, got one of the mechanics, and he gave me the phone number for the maintenance guy, and he's gonna let me in
Jeez.
all the way down there and all the way back. But I got a good book on tape. You know what I'm listening to? I'm listening to Kristen Hanna, the Nightingale.
Is she the one that wrote there's one I have in my queue. Is she wrote Four Winds? I think.
Maybe.
She wrote a bunch of stuff, I feel
Yeah,
like.
she
I
did.
feel
Yeah,
like her name has come up multiple times to me.
yeah. This
Here,
is a cool story.
hey, I finally made a cute pot. That one's cute.
Yay! I want that
Nice.
one.
See, I can do it. And I lifted it off without a
Save
bag.
me, save me that one. Because seriously, we usually swap mugs and stuff at the end. I want to
Fun.
swap that one. That'd be fun.
All right. Sounds
And
good.
you can get a super high textured one just for you.
Use it to photograph for photo comparisons.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, again, this is part one because I just want to pick your brain more and more business wise. I
Yeah,
appreciate your opinion. I want to talk more to you about that.
let's do it.
And yeah, it'd be fun. And we have time in Nsika. I'll see you then. It's funny.
Yeah.
I got my buddy Marshall's coming with me.
Already start saying we have time at Nzika. You know how that actually turns out.
Well, that's what I was going to say next. My buddy Marshall's coming with me, and I keep saying, "Oh, we got to do this at Nsika." I said, honestly, you're coming with me. I got stuff to do. I got to meet a bunch of people, and I keep saying, "Let's do this at Nsika." Oh yeah.
At one point, not this one, but maybe in the future, I just am going to go to the city where Nsika's happening, but not be in the building. And then,
Just stand
like,
outside.
there's just too much. For anybody who's never been and thinking about going for the first time, just accept the fact that you're not going to do all the things you think you're going to do. And you will feel much better.
I learned finally, I got a hotel this time directly across the street. There's nothing worse than being completely worn out and going, oh, I got to get an Uber back to my Airbnb, which is that. Oh, yeah. I'm just walking across the street.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. It's tip time. Let's
It
see.
is. I thought I did it at the beginning.
Oh, wait. What was the beginning tip again?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It was for women not to add and not change their names.
Yes. Hyphen.
All right. Well, tell me. I know there's a bunch of stuff we didn't hit, so give me a category. Like, is you mentioned business that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna give a very vague tip that I hope is helpful, but is also incredibly difficult to actually do until you mess it up and learn and then try again. At least in my experience.
Okay.
And this is something that we talk about a ton in the community, and it's really the driving force of everything I'm trying to do now in terms of how I teach, in terms of my own life. And that is decide your life first and fit the business around it. Decide your life.
Damn it. And then this is the other one I got to think about all night. If money were no option, how would you spend your time? I'm going to spend my time thinking about that.
I mean, you got an hour drive apparently, so
I'm going to text you in an hour. I got it.
perfect.
That's hilarious.
Actually, technically, you have 2 hours because you got to come home. So
That's
one
very
question for the way there, one question for the way
true.
back.
Don't remind me. But you don't have kids, right?
Mm-mm.
Besides the dog? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. If this were a friend, you'd be like, dude, I can't believe you got to drive down there for you. But your daughter, you're like, I'll be back in an hour.
Yeah, see you later.
Love you.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Dang it.
Okay, as a daughter, now I have to ask, if it was your son, would it be as fast?
No,
Or
I
is
tell
it
him he's an idiot and figure it out. You're a dumbass. Ask one of your friends to give you a ride.
Knew it.
That's too
I knew
funny.
it.
You have brothers?
No,
No, are you an
no,
only child?
but I just knew well enough.
Oh yeah, no, you're a dingbat. Smack right in the head. As my dad used to say, growing up in Long Island, he would say, what's the matter with you? It becomes one word. It says, "What's the matter
Yeah,
with you?
what's the matter with you? Yeah.
What's the matter with you? What are you, stupid?" Okay, so let's end also with tell us your website and all websites where people
All the
can find
things.
your work.
Hopefully, if you Google the Maker's Playbook, you should find all the things. And if you Google that and you don't, please send me a message because
Let me
something's terribly wrong.
The Maker's Playbook, that's your podcast. Love it.
That's the name of the podcast. That is the website is makersplaybook.com without the because does anyone put those in URLs? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And the Instagram handle is the same as well. Although I am spending less and less time on Instagram. I got to admit, a couple of months ago, I took it off my phone. So I only check on a computer.
Great idea.
And that has worked really well. The downside is you miss out on like resharing stories that people tag you in and like that type of connection. So I hope nobody's taken offense if I haven't reshared their Spotify Wrapped with the podcast, which has been super exciting to see, but there's no way to reshare on desktop.
Yeah.
That I've found yet. But yeah, it's been good for me to not have it on my phone. So we'll see where that goes.
I think social media simultaneously made it better and ruined everything at the same time. So I think they just banned social media to kids under 16 in Australia.
And also, I think Finland. I've seen it in multiple places. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be. It's just Anyway, a whole nother story.
Part 3.
Part 3. So darn. All right, you're the best. I appreciate your time. This was so fun. I'm so happy you threw. This is like privileged.
I'm gonna go overthink all of it now and wonder what people are going to say.
Oh, perfect timing. The dog is ready too. So good luck with
Thank you.
Hendrix. Tell your husband I look forward to meeting him. Maybe part 2 we'll have to do a cameo with your husband and watch him throw.
Listen, if we get him on any podcast before, like he's never even been on mine. Becca and Ryan, when I went on theirs, they thought he was going to join. I was like, you guys, if he does, we're going to have some words but we'll see. How about we just get him to come throw and I'll stand and talk?
Yeah. You'll sit next to him and point out this is how you do this correctly. Yeah. I'd love to watch him bang out a couple of boards full of pots, but
It's something else, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's fun to watch those guys that really know what they're doing. I really appreciate you. I look forward to meeting you. I'll see you in Sika, and peace out.
It'll be here before we know it. That's for sure.
Absolutely will be. All right, dear. You have a wonderful afternoon.
See ya.
Bye.